All right, let's talk about one of the biggest myths in work today. A myth that is secretly draining your energy, killing your focus, and costing you hours every single week. You know that feeling of being completely wiped out at the end of the day, even if you don't feel like you got that much done? Well, what if I told you it's not because you're working harder, but because you're paying a hidden tax inside your own brain? Today, we're going to show you exactly what that tax is and how to stop paying it for good.
And this, right here, is the heart of the matter. The reason you feel exhausted after multitasking isn't that you're working harder, it's that you're paying a hidden neurological fee. We're going to show you the hard science behind the cost of jumping between tasks, and then give you a simple 3-step system to eliminate this brain tax. It's like a cognitive toll booth you're forced to drive through hundreds of times a day, and each time it takes a little piece of your focus.
So let's be crystal clear about something. We are here to completely bust the myth of multitasking. It's an illusion. Your brain literally cannot focus on 2 complex things at once. It just can't. What it's actually doing is switching back and forth really fast. And the reality of all that switching is this very real, very measurable brain tax. So today, we're swapping the myth for the science.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to unpack this hidden fee. Then, we'll get into the true cost of all that switching. After that, I'll introduce you to the Singletasking protocol, the solution. We'll cover the science of why it works, give you a rock-solid 3-step action plan, and finally get you on the path to mastering effortless focus.
Okay, first up, the hidden neurological fee. This is where we get into a huge paradox of modern work. You know, we feel like we're being super productive when we're juggling a report, our email inbox, and a constant stream of messages, right? But the crazy thing is, the science shows the exact opposite is true. That feeling of being busy is actually just the friction of your brain burning through its most valuable fuel. So let's put a name to this enemy, the task switching penalty. What is it? Well, officially, it's the measurable loss of time and mental energy you pay every single time your brain has to jump from one unfinished thing to another. And listen, this isn't just a feeling, it's a quantifiable cost. Every switch, no matter how tiny, comes with a penalty. And believe me, those penalties add up way faster than you think. All right, let's dig a little deeper. We are now going to diagnose this problem on a scientific level. This isn't about fluffy time management tips. This is about understanding the actual machinery in your head. We're going to look at the hard data that explains why you feel so drained, even on days you feel like you are just spinning your wheels. Okay, let's get real for a second. I want you to honestly answer this question. You're deep in a project, total focus, and then a notification pops up. You check it, it takes 30 seconds. Now, how long does it really take to get back to that same level of deep focus you just had? A minute? 2 minutes? Take a guess. I promise you, the real number is going to blow your mind.
23 minutes. Yeah, you heard that right. 23 minutes. Scientific studies show that it can take, on average, over 23 minutes to fully get your concentration back after just one interruption. Just let that sink in for a moment. If you get pulled away just 4 times in a morning, you've lost over an hour and a half of productive time. Gone, just trying to get back on track.
So why on earth does it take so long? Well, the term for this is switch cost. And it's not just about finding your place on the page again. It's the actual time your brain needs to power down the neural networks for the old task and then fire up a completely different set of pathways for the new one. That 23-minute gap, that's your brain literally having to reboot its entire context.
But wait, it actually gets worse. The reason the switch cost is so high is because of this nasty little thing called attention residue. Think of it like a cognitive ghost of the last thing you were doing. Even when you're trying to focus on your new task, a chunk of your brain's working memory, its very limited RAM, is still chewing on the old task. This residue clogs up your mental desktop, slowing you down and tanking the quality of what you're doing right now.
And when you put it all together, you see the devastating result. All this constant switching, the high switch costs, the sticky attention residue, it leads to 2 massive problems. First, cognitive fragmentation, where your attention is shattered into a million useless pieces. And second, ego depletion. Think of your willpower like your phone battery. All that switching just drains it. Your prefrontal cortex, the CEO of your brain, gets totally exhausted. It's no wonder you feel fried.
Okay, that was the diagnosis. And I know, it sounds a little grim, but here's the good news. And there is good news. There's a fix, a real one. So let's pivot from the problem to the solution, the Singletasking protocol. Now, this is not a random collection of life hacks. It is a structured 3-pillar system designed to attack and eliminate the task switching penalty right at the source. Here are the 3 pillars. It's simple. Number 1, a switch cost audit, where we figure out what your biggest focus killers are. Number 2, and this is the absolute game changer, cognitive offloading. It's a simple ritual to cleanly close the loop on one task before moving on. And number 3 is your structural defense, singletasking and batching. This is where you redesign your day so the penalty can't even touch you.
So, we have the what. Now we need to get into the why. Because this protocol isn't just wishful thinking. It works because it's built around the way your brain is actually wired to perform at its best. Once you understand the psychology behind this, these habits will stick for life. We're about to pop the hood and look at the neurological engine that drives this whole system. So how does this whole thing actually shield your brain? It's a 3-pronged defense. First, it directly prevents that nasty attention residue, which keeps your mental workspace clean and ready. Second, it conserves your executive function. That means it stops that burnout feeling in its tracks. And third, it harnesses something called contextual fluency, which basically means your brain gets faster and smarter by staying on one track for longer.
Let's really zero in on that cognitive offloading piece, because this is the secret weapon. It works by hacking a fascinating quirk of your brain called the Zeigarnik Effect. Basically, our brains are wired to obsess over unfinished tasks. So, by writing down the exact next step before you switch, you're tricking your brain into thinking the task is handled. This creates psychological closure. Poof! The attention residue is gone, and you free up 100% of your mental RAM for what's next.
All right, theory is one thing, but results come from action. This is the most important part of our whole conversation, your 3-step action plan. And I want you to think of these not as suggestions, but as non-negotiable rules of engagement for taking back your focus. This is how you start making a real change, like today. But first, we need to make a critical distinction. From now on, your work falls into 2 buckets. Deep work, this is for your tough, high-value tasks. Writing, coding, strategy. These get 90-minute, completely uninterrupted blocks. We call it a digital quarantine. No exceptions. Then there's shallow work, the low brain power stuff like email and admin. This stuff gets batched together into shorter, 45-minute blocks, and you keep it contained so it doesn't bleed into your real work. So, here it is, the 3 concrete actions. Step 1, you are going to master the 2-minute offload ritual every single time you switch. Step 2, you will schedule and fiercely protect at least one 90-minute single-tasking block for deep work every day. And step 3, you're going to batch and conquer all that shallow work, bundling it together so it can't poison your focus. And let's break down that all-important ritual. Before you switch away from something important, you must do this. First, just stop. Take 1 breath. Second, write down the exact next physical action. I don't mean finish report. I mean open spreadsheet and calculate Q3 revenue variance. Get ridiculously specific. And third, write down the current roadblock, waiting on sales data from Sarah. That's it. This 2-minute habit is the key that unlocks a clean mental break.
Wow. Okay. We have covered the problem, the protocol, the science, and the action plan. We are now at our final section, mastering effortless focus. This is where we boil everything down to one single powerful takeaway, and I issue a direct challenge to you. If you remember just one thing from everything we talked about today, please let it be this. Your energy is wasted not by the work itself, but by the chaos of your attention. That burnout you feel, it's not from how hard your tasks are, it's from the metabolic price you pay every time you yank your focus from one thing to another. Control your attention and you control your energy. It's that simple. So here it is, my challenge to you. It's simple, and it's for tomorrow. Not next week, not someday, tomorrow. Will you commit to doing the 2-minute offload ritual before you switch tasks? And will you schedule and protect just one 90-minute block for your most important work? That's it. That's the start. Are you in? So let's bring it all home. Remember, the task switching penalty protocol solves that core problem of cognitive fragmentation and all that hidden time loss. And why this matters is that it gives you a systematic way to protect your brain power and maximize the quality of your deep work. By using cognitive offloading and single tasking, you're leveraging psychology to kill attention residue and keep your brain locked in. Because in the end, productivity isn't about doing more, it's about mastering systems that make focus effortless.